big news item coming into Canada. Daytona is off the calendar for 2010. They will not be hosting the season opener, or for that matter, any round of the Master Cup Series. All the Team Lights cars won't be there either. We believe the Team Junior cars will make an appearance there in July, but other than that, no Master Cup cars, no Lights cars. So that is the massive news heading into Canada, and the justification for this being that the safety standard, the safety implementations at Daytona are subpar. There's been too many big incidents there, and the TM Master Cup Series teams themselves have all felt that Daytona races are a bit too random. I shouldn't say all of them. There's a couple of proponents to the Daytona Motor Speedway, but those aren't too many. And they've all felt that races at Daytona are far too random to be considered as points races, and that the Daytona Motor Speedway organizers are perhaps a bit too arrogant and a bit too entitled. At least they think they're entitled, and that they think they're bigger than the sport when they're really not. And so, no more Daytona, which has hosted the Master Cup Series season opener since 1987. And that'll go to Japan. Japan will host the first round of the championship. In fact, the first American race in the 2010 championship will be the fourth round of the Master Cup Series championship, which will be in Carbondale. And hallelujah is all I have to say to that. Hopefully it'll actually be warm when we go there, instead of freezing cold as it usually is. Well, Dan, off to you. Thank you, Lance. The Clutch Pole Award goes to Tony Durbin in car number 33. On his outside would be his teammate Ryan Naraki, and on the inside of the second row, Marcus Leonard. The rest of the top six would all be National Racing stars. Durbin gets a very good jump on the rest of the field. Ryan Naraki does not get such a good start, and neither does Marcus Leonard, or anyone else for that matter. However, Leonard's able to move around Naraki and into second. Ethan Everett's going to follow Leonard on the inside. Tony Durbin still pulling out a bit of a lead as they come into turn 3. Marcus Leonard throwing a block here on Ethan Everett. The very aggressive young Canadian doing a fantastic job so far in his home race. Leonard having a very rich vein of form so far, running in second in the early stages, right behind the National Racing cars, right in between them rather, in a race that we expect them to do very well in. However, if this race does go green the whole way, this may be a big question mark for Leonard, because his pit crew is not the best. Here's Alexis Rainsford, who started fairly down through the field. However, you see with her teammates Ian Cooper and Yulia Nasova, she's beginning to work her way towards the front of the field. Rainsford is in contention to repeat as Master Cup Series champion, and right now she's doing a pretty good job. This is Adrian Devereaux. He is leading the race on lap 3. Pretty, not something we would expect to see, because Devereaux was not expected to be in this race. However, he qualified for the race. His teammates, Sam Morrell and Tom Delgado, both failed to qualify. Arto Kekkonen and Alan Hodges are both in contention for the Master Cup title as of right now. However, both of them are running towards the back. Arto's been dropping through the field steadily since the start of the race, and Alan Hodges has been doing likewise. Arto Kekkonen is closer to the lead than Alan Hodges. Hodges needs a good run, or he could be locked out of the championship hunt after this race. So you see Leonard Roderick, who's also been slowly going towards the back. Fortunately for all of those drivers, this race is fairly long. It's 80 laps. This is car number 83, Austin Magnuson. He made a couple of Master Cup starts last year. He's failed to qualify in all his attempts so far for this season, except for this race. He's qualified here for his home race. He will be showing up with this team for Decatur. He's currently running the Team Junior Series, and he will be back in the Master Cup Series next season in a part-time car for the Ocean Motorsports team. Ryan Araki is leading the charge for the National Racing cars towards the front of the field. Most of them were shuffled towards the back. However, Ryan Araki is beginning to lead the charge back through the field. Araki's really not done so much for the team so far. He's had a couple of spin-offs, and some inside the team say that his numerous incidents are why he's being kicked off the team for next season. However, Ryan Naraki also, we believe that the reason he's being kicked out of that car is because he and his manager didn't think he needed to look for a ride next season. Scott Bates, the Super Speedway Master in car number 88, has moved towards the front of the field and leading a race. Right behind him is Adrian Devereaux, and in third is Chris Johans. Fourth, that is, I believe that's Sandoval. Yeah, that is a Stuart Sandoval, car number 77. So a lot of surprises towards the front of the field. However, to see this 88 car leading the race, no surprise at all. Scott Bates will be running next season with his own car, and we expect that car to do very well on the super speedways and in the larger ovals, which Bates tends to specialize at. Johans moves around Devereaux into second. Here's David Krikorian, who's been a bit of a target for other drivers. I think he's failed to finish more than anyone else in the series this year. Very few of those incidents of his own doing. However, you see DK running very strongly up here in the 6th position. He hasn't done particularly well at super speedways in the past. Ethan Everett, car 21. Whoa, Arto Kekkonen. Ethan Everett in the 21 car is staying with Tony Durbin, staying loyal to his teammates, even though that does not appear to be the right move at the moment. Durbin is going to be stuck on the outside and going to slide towards the back a little bit. Here is Alan Hodges towards the back of the field with Leonid Roderick. Roderick's been shuffling all over the field at this point during the race. However, Alan Hodges has not really been able to get out of the back half of the field. Devereaux making another move for the lead. That one charge to the front, no fluke at all. He has a very fast car, and he is a very fast driver today. Devereaux moving to the lead, and here's Arto Kekkonen, two drivers that a lot of people thought were going to be liabilities on super speedways, now leading the race first and second. Gee, I wonder who looks red-faced now. You can see Scott Stoiler there sitting in the 4th position in that 26 car. He's another driver that's having a very good run. Speaking of that 26 car, that's the car Adrian Devereaux will be driving next year, because Devereaux will be full-time in the Master Cup Series in 2010. We're on board John Parker Jr.'s car. Ever since his win in New York, he's had a disaster of a season. He's failed to qualify for most of the races in between New York and now. Right in front of him is his teammate Stephanie McGlynn. Parker's running towards the back of the field. Parker will be driving the 4th car for the Volpe Racing Team in 2010, which will be good to see him at least in the Master Cup Series in some capacity. Right in front of the field, Chris Johans, Arla champion, and Scott Stoidler in the 26 car. Duking it out for first. This is Johans' best run we've seen so far. He's had a lot of good runs, but this is the best we've seen him run ever. Scott Bates, however, would be right there to ruin the fun. Here he comes. Power move on the inside of Stoidler, and he's going to have a run at Johans. Johans not really challenging Bates as of right now. Johans trying to hold the outside. However, when he tries to throw the block, Bates is already there. So Johans going to have to give up the lead to Scott Bates from Oklahoma, and Bates takes over the lead with Arto Kekkonen right behind him in that 14 car. It's been a rough season for Eric Jackson, driver of car number 35. He will be moving down to help run Tyrone Stanley's TM Junior Series teams next season. Jackson will be most likely a crew chief on that team. However, his connections with Monster Energy most likely mean that will be a sponsorship deal as well. Jackson's not made too many races this season, and when he has made them, he hasn't done particularly well. However, today, he's not doing so bad. Up towards the front of the field, you can see behind Arto Kekkonen, the field is stringing out. Kekkonen still leading. Right behind him, Stoidler. Devereaux is there. Johans is there. Scott Bates is still there, and so is Stuart Sandoval in the 77. Here is Marcus Leonard in the 02, who's also staying with this group. And look right there, Carlos Donzello in the 45 car peeking in as well. So the Brazilian driver having a very competitive run. Leonard moves to the inside, perhaps a bit too early. Gary Edwards in car number 8 is having some kind of problem with his car. He suddenly dropped off the pace a few laps ago, but he still kept it on the racetrack. Didn't appear to be bad enough for Edwards to pull the car off the track or into the pit lane. However, at this point, he is well off the lead. Palmer Styles in lap 46 of 80 brings his car into the pits for a green flag pit stop, something we didn't think we'd ever see at a super speedway. 4 laps later is when everyone else started to come into the pits, with Marcus Leonard in the 02 and Tony Durbin in the 33 leading the field down into the pits. Here's Durbin coming in, right behind Leonard. And here's the rest of the field coming into the pits on lap 51. Kekkonen, Snyder, Matt Taylor in the 49, Lauren Roth, Curtis Darcy, Zach Duff. But then right behind him, something rather strange happened. Coming into the pits, here's Alexis Rainsford following Todd Wodarski into the pits, and all of a sudden, Ryan Araki comes flying up the backside into Rainsford, and she puts the car into the tire walls. And car number 27, one of the points contenders, is out of the race. Right then and there, all of a sudden, Ryan Araki just slams into the back of Rainsford's car, and that's the end of that. Naraki would also go out of the race due to that damage in the front end, but more importantly, one of the championship contenders, Rainsford, done for the day. What could have been a big day for Rainsford is now turned into a huge disaster. However, this would even more bizarrely not bring out a caution. Here is the rest of the field when pit stop cycled out, with Scott Bates and Scott Stoiler first and second. Right behind them, Devereaux, and then Carlos Donzello. Todd Wodarczyk in the 39 and Matthias Taub in the 24, both a lap down. However, Alexis Rainsford would storm back to the garage and would very quickly be leaving the track. Obviously furious. And here is Carlos Donzello in fourth. Now, Carlos Donzello having a very strong run. He's going to be in contention to win the race. Here's Chris Johans, the Arla champion, in fifth. Arto Käkkinen in sixth. Behind him is Drew Eisenman. I believe that's the Leonard car, then Sandoval, and then Lewis Kingston, Palmer Styles in the 34, also with this group. Arto Käkkinen having a very strong run, currently in the top 10. Right behind them, Damian Snyder in car number 11. And then behind them, this big pack, which includes Dale Roswell, Lauren Roth. That green and black car is Matt Taylor, Brian Sendak, Stephanie McGlynn, Leonid Roderick, and Ian Cooper is also in there, I believe, as well, in that black number 2 car. Very good run, though, for Roswell so far. Trying to keep his championship hopes alive, however, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. He was about 110 points back coming into this race. Tony Durbin in car number 33 would be sitting way back in 20th. A disaster of a pit stop for Durbin meant that he dropped through the order like a rock. Right behind him, of course, is Nasova, and then back here is Curtis Darcy, John Parker Jr., Chris Allen, and a few other cars. Leave Ethan Everett, and then right way behind them, in about 30th place or so, Alan Hodges and Cyrus Laterza. Hodges' day going from bad to worse. At least he's on the lead lap, though. However, back up front, Scott Bates in car number 88 leads that group of four. Donzello, Darcy, and Devereaux going to try to take the lead away from him. Here's the white flag lap, the final lap of the race. Scott Bates is leading. Here comes Devereaux on the inside of Stoidler coming into turn 1. Bates has got a pretty good lead so far. Coming down on the back straightaway, Bates still has a couple of car lengths over the rest of the field. It looks like he's going to be able to walk away with it. Devereaux is going to make a charge coming into turn 3 and on through 3 and 4. Doesn't look like Devereaux is going to be able to gain as much as he was going to be as much as he needed to. Down to the checkers, and Scott Bates defends this race victory from last season, winning this race for 2 years in a row. Here is the battle for third, and Carlos Donzello wins it over Scott Stoiler by about a yard. And Scott Bates celebrates with his reverse lap, the victory lap. And here are the results leaving Canada, with Bates winning, Devereaux second, Donzello third, and Scott Stoiler in fourth. Scott Bates led almost half the race. Fantastic achievement. Drew Eisenman was able to get around Arto Käkkinen and take fifth. Käkkinen dropped to sixth. Chris Johans was caught by that pack behind him and dropped all the way down to seventh. Marcus Leonard in eighth. Lewis Kingston ninth, and Stuart Sandoval a solid top 10 run for the Ohio native. And here are the points leaving Canada. Tony Durbin takes over the lead over 3 by Arto Käkkinen. This is the final race of the season is a high-speed road course, which should play into Käkkinen's favor. However, Durbin's road racing abilities are also very ominous. Leonid Roderick is the master of Decatur with 5 wins at that track. He's 21 points back, and Alexis Rainsford, who dominated the race last year, 29 points out of first. So, all 4 of the championship contenders, or at least the main championship contenders, still a realistic chance. Alan Hodges is mathematically eligible for the title, but realistically, he's way out. The most he can make up in one race, 62 points. Meaning that an Alan Hodges championship is going to need to take something very extraordinary. Everyone else behind Hodges in the points, Eisenman, Roswell, Kingston, Stoiler, and Whitmore, all of them mathematically out of the hunt for the title. And here's 11 through 20. Kurt Pliskin, Chris Johans, Damian Snyder, Yulia Nasova, Danny Savin. You see Rachel Rainsford 164 points out. And then a tie for 17th between Edwards and Bates. Then Stuart Sandoval in the 77. And then Ross Peterson, his teammate, in the 47. Make out the top 20 in the standings. I should probably point out this has been a great season so far for that 16 team with Kurt Pliskin. A win, 5 top 10 so far. I think if you asked them how their season went, they'd say very well indeed, because they were struggling to qualify most of the time last year. That's all for this week in the TM Master Cup Series. I'll see you next time.